Hello, friends. We're going to wait a few minutes and see who can join us. I was feeling kind of bad because we had a training this morning, and because I'm not technically savvy, we weren't able to get everyone on the call. But I wanted to make sure that everyone who wanted to see could see it again. So we're going to dive in just a few minutes. I'm going to give it maybe a minute more. If you come in and you want to let us know who you are, where you're calling from, we'd love to hear from you. So we'll take just a little minute. Well, it's 11:45, like I promised, and we're going to start round two. This morning, we sent out a link to have everyone join me live for a hello again with Simply Living Smart. It's been 5 years since we connected, and it's time to join forces again. And I'm excited to have you with me. Unfortunately, I am not tech savvy, so there were a bunch of you who had emailed me who couldn't get in to the call. And so I wanted to make sure to quickly record it again. So hopefully some of you will be joining me live and or watching this as a recording later. So let's jump in. There are 3 things I want to accomplish today. One is, and this was fun because I was able to hear from some of you, and some of you came on and shared your experiences. I'm not sure how much we'll have of that today since it's really short notice. But if you want to leave a comment, you're welcome to do that, and I'll try to address those. But the thing that there are 3 things I wanted to cover, and one was, let's talk really quickly about just the overall sense of what's going on during this pandemic. I know it's been tricky for people, and I know when things are kind of hard and challenging, sometimes we shut down, sometimes we just don't know how to start a new routine. And so I kind of want to address that. I want to talk about some of the silver lining moments that we've had, because I have found a handful. And this really is what spurred me on to get back with Simply Living Smart and really give that another go and revisit it, because so many of you had reached out saying, Anitra, we need you now, where have you been? And I kept thinking, you know what, we've been practicing for this for a long time. Simply Living Smart goes back to 2011. So it's been almost 10 years since we launched Simply Living Smart. And so in the meantime, I know we did 5 years of really intensive training. We did lots of ebooks. I wrote and published 2 books, and there was a lot going on. We did even live training and cooking classes, and there was so much, and it was so exciting. And then I needed to take a break and step back a little bit, because I do have these 4 boys that I was raising, and I felt like they needed a little more attention. And so I put Simply Living Smart on hold to focus on those more important things. But now I'm back. I have 3 children who are out of the house. 2 of them are married, and the last one is about to graduate high school. So we will officially be empty nesters, and we're kind of looking forward to this new chapter in our lives. And it gave me an opportunity to look and see what it is that we've done and created in Simply Living Smart and how things have evolved. I will say that in the last 5 years, there is so much that I've experienced. There's so much I've learned. I did dive into a really intensive 10-month functional nutrition class and have learned so much that I'm eager to share with you. I've also learned a lot more about time management, communication, things like that. So it's been really fun. I will say one thing I am not 100% great at is technology. So I'm learning as I go, and I'm going to take you along for the ride. So just be patient. That's coming. I did want to announce that our Simply Living Smart site is going to be completely overhauled, and you're going to see some really fun new changes. So I hope that you will look forward to that as I do. So I wanted to jump in really quick and talk about maybe some of the silver linings. This is going to be the first part. Second part, I'm going to give you a quick training on how to be productive, especially in this time of the pandemic, and how we can make the most of the 24 hours that we're given. And then I'd like to make some fun, new, exciting announcements about Simply Living Smart and the direction that we're going there. So hold on, it's going to be a great ride. Let's dive into the silver linings. I want you to maybe consider some of the things that you've experienced during the pandemic that have helped you feel gratitude. Sometimes that's a hard thing to see because we're so overwhelmed with the day to day. I know there are many of you who are young mothers and fathers trying to homeschool kids. I know there are some of you who've had to move your full-time work from the office to home, so there are a lot of challenges there. I just wanted to share a couple of silver lining moments that I have found during this pandemic and why I am so grateful that we went through this. The first one is, even though, I'm an avid swimmer. I love to swim, and I swim every day and 2 miles a day. And I love that. And I was just so in my routine. And then all of a sudden, cold turkey, the pools were closed. I decided, what can I do? I mean, I'm a runner too, so I could run, but I wanted to change up my routine completely and do something different. And so I decided I'm just going to take my husband for walks in the morning, and we have found the most beautiful 5-mile round walk. And so we go past beautiful streams and gorgeous trees and lovely landscape, and it's up and down and all around. And we would never have found that path. We would have never explored had we not had this little time to decide we're just going to exercise together, because he can't go to the gym either. So that to me is a silver lining, just doing something outside of the norm that feels good. Lately, we've been really smelling the cherry blossoms, and it smells so divine and so sweet in the morning. It's a great way to wake up and really get on with your day. The second silver lining is that I have really found that I can use time in such a great way. So I have found that I have time carved out in the afternoon, specifically targeted towards you, training and online courses. I'm really trying to decide, how do I present this next chapter? And we're going to be talking about that a little bit later today. But I have found that by really sectioning out my time and deciding what I'm going to focus on, it keeps me grounded, it keeps me excited and motivated, and I look forward to that in my day. Now, fortunately, we only have one student, one son at home. He's about to graduate high school, so I don't have to sit down and do homework, which I'm so pleased about. But I've been able to find other creative outlets. And I think the biggest theme that I've come away with during this COVID-19 is to find beauty in doing things that are creative. So for you, maybe that's baking, maybe that's, making things for your neighbors. I have found great satisfaction in just creating. I've never quilted in my life, and I decided I wanted to learn how to quilt. And so I made 5 quilts during this pandemic, and I was pretty excited. I learned about it. I learned tips and tricks. So whatever it takes for you to maybe get out of your comfort zone, learn a new skill, it all brings joy. And I know that as we create, our minds are opened, we're more happy, we can communicate better, and it's just, it's a great healing. It has a great healing effect on us. So I have found that those 3 things have really brought me joy. I've also found that expressing gratitude when things are hard has been a real gift. And I have often kept a gratitude journal, but at this time I really made it a priority to write down even 3 things a day that I was grateful for, even if it's just, I'm grateful I'm not ill, or I'm grateful I can sew masks for my friends and my family. So things like that. And I think it doesn't need to be complicated. So hopefully this inspires you. Hopefully you're looking at the silver linings as well. I'm sure that yours are unique and different. And I just feel like there's always going to be a great takeaway from things that are hard. And that's how we learn. And that's how we recognize who we can be and what the possibilities are where we would have never recognized that before. So enough with COVID-19. Let's jump into 7 productivity tips. I want to go through these quite quickly, and I want to share with you some things that I feel are really key in keeping those 24 hours packed with things that are productive instead of, binging on Netflix or, eating incessantly. And isn't that an easy thing to do when we're bored or we don't know what to do or we're stuck at home? We tend to visit the fridge more often, and we tend to put up our feet on the couch more often. And these are things that we need to learn to bridle because, again, at the end of the day, productivity makes us happy and makes us have joy. So tip number 1, start working at the same time every day. I know there are a lot of you who have had to shift your work from an office place to your home. And fortunately, I've always worked from home. I've always been able to, and that's been easy for me because that was already my environment. There are those of you who have to shift your work around kids' schooling, or there are those of you who are retired and just do the work that you do every day anyway. But sometimes when we're forced to be at home, we tend to maybe waste more time. So let's start working at the same time every day. I feel that when your workday starts, mine happens to be 9 o'clock in the morning. I work from 9 to 1 o'clock every single day, and that's my job. This is work that I've done where I call people, pretty much all around the world, and it's gratifying, and I love it. And so I focus on that work for 4 hours. Now, I want to make sure before I start my workday that I've had some really quality me time, that I'm focused, that I'm ready to be there. And so I love to wake up early. I used to wake up at 5:30 to go swimming. Now that I can't go swimming, I actually wake up around 6, closer to 6 o'clock. But I want to make sure that I've had time to exercise. I've had time to just, nurture my mind, do some meditation, think about the day ahead and kind of plan. I do not like to be rushed in the morning. And so if you can figure out a way to wake up early enough that you can do all of the things that make you feel good, maybe you eat breakfast with your, husband, or maybe you do things with your kids or pet your pets. I don't know what it is that you do. I happen to be one of those people who don't touch any food till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's my eat time. That's my refuel. So breakfast for me is never an issue. I don't have to fuss with food or preparing. So it makes it really easy. I wake up, I do my thing, and I'm ready to go. Now, one thing that I've really noticed, and I've always kind of been this person who wakes up, I always want to be dressed. I always want to have my face on. In the first 2 weeks that this pandemic hit and we were able to really stay home, no one was going to be seeing us per se. I thought, well, why not just hang out in my pajamas, and why not just, not care? And that quickly changed for me because I realized that when I wasn't dressed, when I didn't have my shoes on or my face on, that I didn't feel as happy or as productive. And maybe you've experienced that as well. So my tip for you is, even though you're stuck at home, get dressed, make yourself feel good, do your hair, brush your teeth, do all those things that you would normally do because it's going to give you more energy and it's going to make you feel great. I'm one of those people, I admit, I wear high heels every single day and I love it, and that's who I am. So it makes me feel good to be in heels even though I'm not leaving the house at all. It could be that I get dressed even for 2 hours and then decide, you know what, I'm taking a break, I'm going for a bike ride. I don't care. I get dressed again. And then I get back dressed again because I feel like if I'm going to be productive, I have to dress for the part. So that's the tip I'm going to give you today. Now, be aware of your energy levels. Maybe you're one of those people who is a total morning person. You can get everything done between 5 and noon, and that's great. So plan your most important work in the morning. Some of you are afternoon high energy people or evening or late night energy people. Then make that the time that you focus on your important work. But make sure that you have those hours that are super, super focused, undistracted. This leads me to tip number 2, and that is minimize distractions. How many of you set your phone by your bed and as soon as you wake up, you're on that phone checking notifications or emails, whatever it is? And all of a sudden, this huge cloud of anxiety comes over you, and you think of all of these things you have to do, and it starts to really stress you out. Well, my recommendation is to leave your phone in another room. In fact, what's really helped me the most is I don't even check my phone until I check in for work, 9 a.m. in the morning. So this has really helped me because I feel that if I can dedicate that early morning time to just me, to my thoughts, undistracted, then it really helps. And I'm much more productive. I would much rather check my emails at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll tell you why, between 1 and 2 o'clock, than any other time, because I feel like I can do it all at once and just get it done within 20 to 30 minutes. I know it's different when you work, and I work too. And so with work emails, that's a different thing. But when it's other things, or you want to look at social media, I did admit I am not on social media, never have been in my entire life, never plan to be, except on Facebook now for Simply Living Smart because I must be. But I'm one of those people who have very little bandwidth for every little minutia that everyone else is doing. And I really want to focus on what's important in my life, for my family, my pod, and really put my energy there. So I wish I had more bandwidth. I simply don't. And I know that from my personality. So minimize distractions. Another way to minimize distractions, maybe turn off the television if it's background noise. Maybe turn off the music if that is, kind of making you crazy. I know a lot of kids like to study with music, but for me, I like a completely quiet environment. I think it's important to articulate to your family members when your work time is, when you should not be disturbed, and then make sure that you separate yourself. Go to another room, even go outside now that it's nice weather. Do what you can to minimize distractions. Another thing that I find that a lot of people struggle with is clutter. How many times do you wake up and go to do your work, and all of a sudden you're looking across the room and there's, socks on the floor, or there are dishes that haven't been done, or you just feel disconnected somehow? Well, I'll tell you what, that is a huge distraction, because then you're just piling on your to-do list. Oh no, I didn't do this and I didn't do this. And now, you feel like you're backpedaling. My recommendation here, and it's worked well for me, is before I go to bed at night, and it's usually right after dinner, I do a clean sweep of the house, put away things that don't belong, and so that I can start with a clean palette. I have a great husband who does the dishes at night, so he makes sure that the kitchen is clean. And that's always been a huge blessing for me, because I feel like when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to play catch up. So I love to know that my space is clean and organized and I can start from scratch. I make sure my computer is plugged in and that my phone is fully charged. I even make sure that my clothes are laid out for the next day. That's how crazy. Even my workout clothes, to make sure that everything's clean and I don't have to press anything or do any of that last minute prep. So those are great ways to be undistracted, be all in, be all present when you're working, so that you can give your 100%. And that's, of course, in anything, whether you're spending time with your family, whether you're doing, things that you love, be all in when you're in that moment, but prepare for that. And I think that's important. Number 3, what if you get stuck in your work? So let's say you've dedicated your 9 to 12 or your 9 to 1 and you're working hard, and all of a sudden you have a brain cramp and your mind just goes blank. What do? My recommendation is to push on for 10 more minutes. See if you can just push on for 10 more minutes. And if you can, and you can get right back into it, great. If you can't, I would recommend one of 2 things. Either step away and do a meditation practice, just breathe deeply, go outside, get a drink of water. One thing I like to do when I have a mental break, and this is so crazy, is I like to brush my teeth. To me, it wakes me up. It makes me feel like it's the beginning of the day again. So either do that, something that relaxes you, that invigorates you, call a friend, do something for 5 or 10 minutes. Or if that doesn't work, then pull out your have to do list. Now, this is something that we're going to talk about in the next step. But everybody has a have to do list. So whether that's grocery shopping, meal planning, cleaning up, doing dry cleaning, there are a number of things on our to-do list. Be super clear about what the things are that you need to do, and then pick one of those things, just one that might take 10, 15 minutes to do, and focus on that. For me, it's usually organizing a drawer. I know it sounds so crazy, but I love to organize. And organizing one simple drawer in my house gives me just that energy and that boost because I've thrown things away, I've tidied up, I've cleaned it all out, and it feels amazing. So that seems to be my go-to recharge. And then I can get back to work and feel good. Okay, tip number 4. Have a list of important things you want to get done. Again, this can be an ongoing list. And I would say choose to complete 2 or 3 of those every single day. And they don't have to be big, they can be small. But I like having a checklist, and I like feeling like I've used that time for good. Now, remember, this is time spent outside of your normal work. So for me, this happens later in the evening. So I pick, two or three things that I really want to focus on. But then I get excited because whether that's, weeding a patch of ground outside, or whether that's, planning a meal, or whatever it is, I can get excited, and I generally leave my phone upstairs so I can't hear it, or turn off my phone so I'm undistracted. I even find that once you've done one of those tasks, again, if it's something that you're doing in the middle of your workday, that's great. Feel great about it. Feel happy, and if there's something else that kind of comes to your mind as you're doing that activity, and you want to add that to your next to-do list, then add it, because I think it's always nice to have productive things to do. Okay, tip number 5. Break down your day into specific tasks. I can't tell you how important this is. It's one thing to just fly through your day and say, well, whatever comes, okay, I'll do it. Because that leaves you vulnerable for either people to take advantage of your time, or you self-sabotage. So in my mind, the best thing to do is to mentally, or even write it down, how are you going to spend your day? So for me, the first 2 hours are really, like I said, meditation, exercise, self-care, so that I feel really fresh by the time work starts. I work from 9 to 1. That's when I have a hard stop right there. And I love knowing that at the end of that time at 1 o'clock, I'm going to be able to treat myself to a really, really nourishing lunch. So to me, that's my fuel time. And I take an entire hour, and I allow myself to cut the food, to enjoy the food, to smell it, to sit outside, to enjoy it without having my phone on, without checking emails. That is my alone time. And I have no problem telling people that, or if I see a text come on, I'll call you later, or whatever. So be very specific about what that time looks like, because I feel that, and this is also something I learned in the functional nutrition class that I took, is that it is important for you to take time as you eat. We can't just wolf it down and feel like we're going to be okay mentally and emotionally. It's important that we take time to really taste and enjoy our food. So 1 o'clock, I eat my lunch. So between 1 and 2. From 2 to 4, I typically have that renewed energy, and I get super excited, so I can focus on things that are important to me. Now, this may be a time for you to do your to-do list, your 2 to 3 things. For me, it's a time to dive in and to really look into, my coaching and my just the concepts and the things that I want to do with this business, Simply Living Smart, and focus on what's important to you as my audience. And so I love hearing from you. I love getting your feedback. If you email me from now on, I will be responding between that time, because I feel like that's totally focused. I'm also happy to have Zoom calls with people at that time, because it really helps me feel like I'm in that zone, and that's dedicated. Then I don't have to think about it during the night or during dinner. It makes it super simple. So after that 4 o'clock, I usually take a break. I like to ride my bike. I like to get out, have some fresh air, or just hang out. It's okay just to hang out. In that time, then I might choose to do 1 or 2 things on my list. And then we eat dinner really early, like 5 o'clock. So that's really simple. There's only 3 of us. And by the time 6 o'clock comes over, everything's cleaned up and done. So again, I do that sweep around 6 o'clock so I can just relax. And it is whatever I want to do, whether it's another walk, whether it's reading, whether it's watching my favorite architecture shows on Netflix with my husband. It can be whatever is important to you. But I want to make sure that before the end of my day, I've either written in a journal and just kind of had my thoughts put on paper so that, again, they don't haunt me at night, or that I've actually written in a gratitude journal and just articulated 3 simple things from the day that I'm grateful for. And it can be something as easy as, I'm so glad we're healthy. I'm so glad we have nourishing food. I mean, it doesn't have to be something huge, but I feel like the act of expressing gratitude can bring such joy and such peace to your life. And especially when it's kind of uncertain and things like that. And I know that a lot of us are feeling that way. I think it's important to ask our children what they're grateful for. Make it a habit, because I feel like it kind of takes us out from the dark and gives us an opportunity to really see how blessed and how lucky we are. Number 6, we're almost done. Take mindful breaks. You know, there was a study done that showed that people who work 25 to 40 minutes and then take even a 5-minute break are more productive than people who will work for 3 or 4 hours at a time. So maybe see it as a treat. Treat yourself to a 5-minute break every 20 minutes, even if it's just stretching at your desk, even if it's just breathing a few times or getting some fresh air outside. All of those things are going to help you be more productive. Okay, number 7, self-compassion. I leave this one for last because I feel like often we forget to be self-compassionate. When we're in things like this, and this, I mean COVID-19, where it forces us to do things differently and it forces us to kind of think outside of our comfort zone, be patient with yourself. As you change your routines and as you learn to communicate differently or work differently, reward yourself, give yourself self-talk, give yourself props, and tell yourself that you're proud of yourself for trying and giving it your best effort. I think when we can mentally, buoy ourselves up, we're going to do so much better and be easier on ourselves as well. What makes you feel good? How do you prepare for the next day? Do you feel like the days where you have really thought things through and what your routine's going to be goes much more smoothly than if you fly by the seat of your pants? I do. And I love to look forward to things. In fact, I love to reward myself, whether it's a warm bath on a Saturday morning or whether it's a yummy treat at the end of the week. If I can just look forward to something, I'm much more likely to be disciplined during the week. And so I feel like that's really important. Early to bed. This might be one of the weirdest things, but I'm telling you, I'm usually in bed by 8 o'clock at night because I wake up early, but it makes me feel good. Now, this may be crazy and you're a midnight person or you're a 2 o'clock person, but I find that I get so much energy when I do good to my body. That's, exercising, that's eating nutritiously, that's being conscious of my thoughts. And I feel like if we can focus on this, these are really simple things. But sometimes we just tend to overcomplicate them, or we get so busy thinking about other things on our to-do list. We have to learn to let that to-do go list when we've crossed off those things and just be able to enjoy our life. Now, I love the visual when you're in an airplane, and one day we will be again, where the stewardess gets up and she says, if you need oxygen, these little things are going to drop from the sky, and the first thing you want to do is to put oxygen mask on you and then give it to the ones you love. And I love that because I feel like that's exactly what we need to do here. And at this time especially, we need to nourish and nurture ourselves before we can ever give from our cup to anyone else. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely vital. And unless you take care of yourself, you're really not going to have the bandwidth to take care of other people. So there we go. 7 tips to being more productive. I'm going to run through those once again. Number 1, start working at the same time every day. Number 2, minimize your distractions. Number 3, what to do when you get stuck with your work. Number 4, have a list of important things you want to get done. Number 5, break down your day into specific tasks. Number 6, take mindful breaks. And finally, number 7, have self-compassion or practice self-compassion. So I hope this is helpful for you. Now for the exciting announcement. Some of you have already heard this, but for those of you who haven't, I'm so excited. Now, I just want to mention for those of you who are brand new to Simply Living Smart, and there are a lot of you. In fact, last week we had 140 new subscribers, which is so exciting. I want to let you know, if you're going to my website, simplylivingsmart.com, there are literally 6 years worth of work there. There's over 250 videos. I call them smart minutes. They're also, they're tutorials, not only on how to eat more nutritiously or make your own food using real ingredients, not using packaged food, organizing your home in all your places, organizing your life. I've written and published 2 books through Simply Living Smart, and it's been so exciting to watch as we, and listen to you as you kind of go through this training. So not only are those 250 how-to videos there, and they're very short, but there are also over 400 articles dealing with all kinds of topics. And this year, we're going to be bringing you even more. So you newbies, you people who want a refresher, go back to Simply Living Smart. There's tons of content there for you to enjoy. And here comes the most exciting part. I'm about to introduce Simply Living Smart. Simply Living Smart 202 Go. What do we call it? 2.0. Wow, 2.0. 2.0. I can't even remember. I'm so frazzled and excited. Simply Living Smart 2.0. So this is going to be a whole new level of learning and coaching and training, where you will have the opportunity to take your learning and your skills one step further. So it's one thing to learn something and get excited about it and try it once or twice. But I feel the real value and the real payoff comes with learning something and sharing that with someone else, lifting somebody up, developing their skill set. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. So we're going to be opening up the faucet of Simply Living Smart. It's no longer going to be just food and organization. It is going to be everything that you live every single day in any category, but doing it in a smarter and simpler way. One of my biggest, one of the things that I'm trying to overcome is being, feeling like I have to be perfect at something before I share it, or being perfect at, what I wear or what I do, or saying it perfectly. And I'm trying to overcome that because I know that that is not normal or natural. And so I want you to know that I'm going to make an effort to just be more aware of the things that we do every day. And even though they're not perfect, we're going to make it fun, and we're going to make it easier. And you're going to be able to share those things with the people that you love and bring joy and sunshine to their lives. Now, we're going to even take it one step further. And that is that I'm now going to open up one-on-one coaching with me. I've had so many requests over 10 years. People have been saying, you really need to teach people how to start their own business. I want to be a coach. I want to do this. Or I just want one-on-one training for myself. I want to understand exactly how to take you through my home and organize every single part of it. And I've done years of home organization, so I love it, and it really gets me excited. Or you might be someone who says, I'm stuck in meal planning. Help me with my family and my needs, whether I have people who are gluten-free or whether I'm lactose intolerant. Help me to understand how I can make mealtime special. Other things might be, whatever it is you need that makes your life simple. There are so many things that I've learned and that I've experienced and I've shared with you already, but that's going to be opening up in the summertime. I'm going to start with only 10 people. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you're welcome to email me directly, anitrakerr@gmail.com. That's my first and last name, or respond to one of my newsletters. They will be going out regularly as well. And we will be doing these Facebook Live sessions quite regularly because I want to be able to have communication with you. I want to know what's important to you. In fact, I'm going to ask you right now if there are things in your life that you want more information on, that you want the experts to tell you about, that you want guest speakers to address. Or if you're one of those guest speakers, I would love to have you on Simply Living Smart so that we can all grow together, because that's really at the end what this is all about. Helping to empower people everywhere to live a more meaningful, more simple, more organized, and more joyful life. So that's the good news. I hope you're super excited about it. I'm excited to have you along. I will remind you that our website is going to be totally overhauled, so it'll be a lot easier to navigate. We're going to be introducing challenges, which I'm so excited about, because as we introduce these challenges, it'll motivate you not only to learn the material or to review the material we've learned, but to share it with others and do it in a really, really meaningful way. And I will want you to report, and we want to share, and we just want to build a community or rebuild a community of really open, positive, and service-oriented people. So with that, I will let you go. Again, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited to share all of this with you. If you want to say hi and let me know you're here, I would love to I see Eric is here. My loyal and trusty husband. He's practicing the software with me. But just know that I appreciate your support throughout the years. I'm here for you for a long time to come, and I'm super excited about what we're going to learn together. So have a wonderful day. Enjoy the sunshine, and you'll be hearing from me very shortly. Bye-bye.